you feel the need to crash into something? Then welcome to Behind the Wheel and the Wall podcast with Frankie Guy. This is raw and honest, driven by passion. Behind the Wheel and the Wall with Frankie Guy is for derby fans who want more than just the hits. It's for those who want the story behind them.
All right, here we go, guys. Welcome to Behind the Wheel and Behind the Wall. My name is Steve. Behind the Wheel and Behind the Wall with Frankie Guy. My name is Steve, and to my left, we got the hostess with the mostest, Frankie Guy. He is the legend, the man, the myth, the legend, right here.
The legend of my own mind.
Yeah, and mine too, man. You're awesome. Welcome. We got another great show for you guys out there, and we got a good podcast. And our special guest is Scotty Drevenak Jr.
Yep.
Jr.
AKA Iceman.
Yeah, Iceman. That's going to be good to find out what
Crash Fanatics.
What the Iceman's all about. We're going to have a lot of fun today. We're going to be talking with him, find out his ins and his outs and what makes him burn. So with all let's go. Let's see him. Let's see this guy right here. You can see he's looking at his car. He's ready to go. We got him coming in right now. There he is, Scotty. How you doing, buddy?
How you guys doing? Good.
Welcome to Behind the Wheel and Behind the Wall with Frankie Guy and myself. It's good to have you here,
Thanks
bud.
for having me.
Likewise.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
Yeah, well, I go back to when you had me on yours. Remember, Scotty used to have one. And,
yeah.
So. Hey Scotty, and it's a lot more work than like everybody else thinks it's easy. Like everything else, man, nothing to it, right?
Dude, that's why I had to stop doing mine, is because there's way more that goes into it to actually put on a good show for it. Just like putting on derbies, you know what I mean? Like you can do it, brother. But when you're trying to grow up, make money, win big derbies, I guess, and you don't really have a lot of time, it's hard to manage both and do well.
It never gets any easier with the time allotment there. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, Scotty, thanks for coming in with us, buddy. Where are you right now? Tell us a little bit of what's going on. Looks like you're in your car there. Are you driving down the road? I hope not, but.
No, so I'm in the parking lot. So after this, I got to go to church. I think it's around 7:38, so we got some time.
Nice. Okay, well, good. You got to give God a little time. That's a great thing.
I think that's a great opener, Scotty. A lot of people, when I say Behind the Wheel and the Wall, a lot of people know Scotty, the Iceman in the arena. But, I believe we become, in the last 5-6 years, we become pretty good friends. And a lot of people know that, they probably don't know that we do talk a lot on the phone and your faith, where that's come to, and I'm kind of proud of you. You haven't been scared to put it out there, and we always talk about, there's a lot of people out there that do things, but man, you've been and you've come through our youth stuff, but there's a lot of kids and that look up to you, and I think you play that role as a role model as good as anyone out there for the youth kids. And from me to you, man, and your faith. And, I believe in that same way that you do. And, man, thank you for doing that. So,
yeah, here. Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. And, it's one of those things, I guess, being a role model for the youth or whatever. It's that I think the reason I guess I somewhat ended up there is because I was never really trying to be, you know what I mean? I was kind of, especially with derby, and I was always just stuck in that mind and that mode for years, on basically since I was 10, that once you just go up and you get older, and then people just look to you the same way I looked to guys like Gage and Jason back in the day, and the Blizzard, the way I looked at all the guys running Blizzard Bash back in the day when I was 10, watching it on TV, that's, I guess, the way these kids look at me. And it's crazy to think about that that's how everything plays out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. No, we go back and, Scotty, as a little kid, involved, like you said, since 10. And then when I met this young kid in the youth, Scotty showed up in our youth shows, and he just had a positive, and the cars were always extremely, how could I put this? Extremely well built. And I got to know not only him, but his amazing mother and father both. That's another thing I find it behind these kids. Their start comes from that amazing floor, that amazing rock that his amazing mom and dad have created. And I know that for sure. Matter of fact, I talk to his dad a couple days a week, every week. Nice. And they're just amazing, and they're so proud of him, and they've gave him that foundation. Tell us a little bit about that foundation and how you from where you started and how you come through the ranks, and especially our youth program. Scotty was in our youth program for many years and very successful at it. So tell us a little bit about coming in through that youth program.
So touching back to what Frankie said when he was talking about how we build the cars. First time I ever went to a hardcore show, he loaded me. I was 10 years old. I was heartbroken. I couldn't believe it. Right. But it's kind of one of those things. So growing up, my parents, they always supported me. You know what I mean? Whatever I was doing, that's the thing. Like when I was, I think when I was 8, I thought I was going to the NBA. I don't know why. It was just like our thing. So we went to the basketball camps. We did everything like that. But with derbying especially, though, it's kind of been like mine and my dad's thing that brought us together. So with everything that I've ever wanted to do, and like the big shows or any like goal or anything I ever wanted to do, I always had the full support of my mom and my dad. Like you come around our pit one weekend, especially like we'll just use Deadman for an example. Like it's a family thing there. Yes. Mom's out there cooking something in the crock pot. They're handing out the candy on trick or treat. Like it's a family thing. Like this is what we do as a family. Yeah. And that's why I think it's hard to get away from that aspect of it. Because like, as bad as this might sound, like we go to church together and we derby together. That's pretty much it. You know what I mean? Because with how hectic everything is with life and everything, I don't know. It's kind of like that's always been like our family thing in a way.
Right. Now his mom, I had cookies or cupcakes, man. I had a little section that said Frankie Guy on it. I'm like, man, I thank you, but he's still got to cut all that shit off that car.
Well, sometimes it helps. Sometimes
the bribes
you get
of sugar, they don't work.
I said maybe we give the fat guy a couple of cupcakes, so cut us a break.
It's probably worked for a bowl or two in the past.
Hey, it helped. I'm not going to sit here and act like it didn't, Yeah,
no. Keep going with some of Scotty's. Again, he has him and his family both to become good friends, and sometimes us crooked promoters, as I'll say in derby world, we get this stigma of, hey, he's our friend, so we let him do this or we let him do that. I think Scotty can attest for, when I say a friend, I mean, like you said, Scotty, there's a lot of phone calls and things that we go back on as had nothing to do with derby, just me and him as being friends. And I know that I have, told him things about me, and he's told me things about him that are between us. But when it comes down to the Demolition Derby, I've cut him no breaks. Maybe you could elaborate with the general, and we go back to the Bash for Cash when Scotty showed up in a, what do you call that car? Underbuilt car or whatever.
Dude, I'm underbuilt, Frankie. I don't understand how you think of any other way. Dude, I show up, we're underbuilt. You know what I mean? Just because I have a kicker car against stock cars doesn't mean I'm not underbuilt, okay?
Tell us a little bit about the Bash for Cash youth car. That was always, that's one I won't forget.
So, I'm probably, I want to say around 15 at the time, maybe 14, 15.
Yep.
So this was, I think, like the second or third big car me and Dad built together. Now, Daddy's ran big cars forever, And one thing, we've always done, you weld the washers into body mount holes. So when it goes to belly out and everything, it doesn't do it because it can't pull the bolt through the washer. Well, apparently, okay, in bright, bold red lettering, it said, you cannot weld that. Like, in bright, bold red lettering. Now, I say bright, bold red lettering because they had a television at the inspection. And I'm not talking like a little television. I'm talking like a projector-sized television that Casey Smith, love this guy to death. I genuinely despise going through attack with this dude. He pulls it up on this big television. The Derby car's right here. The big television's right here. And he says, you see this right here? Read this aloud. I'm like, bro, you got me, dude. What can we do to fix this? I'm sorry, okay? I didn't see that, okay?
So,
dude,
yeah.
I'll never...
Why
did you have a television? What?
We had a big screen TV, and I would walk over and point to it. There, look. I mean, like, here it is, man, right in their faces.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what. Once you build a car and you bolt it down with air guns and tighten things up, listen, they had to go back and take the bolts out of this entire car.
That's how it's done if you want to run.
And if you want to do, and then I remember his poor dad laying in the dirt and the mud back here with a torch, tying a torch, and I'm like, Scotty, lesson learned, my man. I mean,
yeah. Well, sometimes you learn more from your mistakes than you do your victories, right?
Again, we talk about when me and Casey Smith and we started the Youth Nationals, it was more about Demolition Derby. It was, and you've seen some of the other youth kids that we've had on, how they are, and as far as human beings and people and consequences and all those tough things.
It's a teaching moment.
It is.
Frankie Guy likes to impart the wisdom on.
It is, and love him and his family to death. But you're going to follow the rules, just like everybody else.
Yeah, that's why there are rules, and I know the rules because you send me a bunch, and I put them on the old website.
Right, he does.
And there's revisions, and I put them back on there.
This poor guy, when it's rule season on my website, Scotty. Hey, Steve, take that one down. Put this one in. I forgot a space or a comma. I said cross members, and so now I get a card that's got 6 of them in it instead of just one because I didn't have my comma in the right place. So.
Yeah, and that can get you in trouble.
Now, Scotty is one to read into the rules. He does enjoy what they call a hard, and he went right through the youth class, and it got to a point in my mind that, he just started winning and doing well. And
that's good.
Took a little bit of ribbon. You
got to walk before you run.
Well, these grown-ups, at 16, at 17, competing on a high level, and probably a couple years ago, Scotty started dabbling into. Tell us a little bit about that, Scotty, about how you kind of went from the youth and you went right into the Wolf's Den and competed. Tell us how that all come about.
So one thing I remember is towards the end of like running the youth shows, I remember this specifically when I was building a Lincoln. I think it was for Youth Nationals, like the first or the second year. Like I remember, like, I don't want to say I was bored with it, but it was just like I was at that point, like, where, because one of my favorite parts of Derby is building the car. And I remember being at that point, like, this is cool, but, like, okay, what's next? Because I'm at that point where I want to start, create, like, squeezing cars. Like, start actually building those cars that I see everybody, and I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever.
Right.
But with the youth class, though, it's a very good base for everything. Now, I say that because as much as I hate it, stock cars, it takes talent to win in stock cars. And more than talent, it takes hard work. And that's one of those things that it's a gift and a curse, is that when we're at a derby and even leading up to it, just that's where that hard work and just sheer dedication comes from. Then that was built for me through the youth class and everything. Like, I remember it was that year I ran that Lincoln at Youth Nationals. I was up, I didn't go to bed that night. Think about that. I was like 15 or 16 not going to bed. Dude, I remember my mom was livid. You can't run on no sleep. Well, Mom, we got to get her done. The hump blew out. All right, we'll see you in the morning.
No, it's true. I remember, it was raining, and at 7 or something in the morning, I was up and getting ready to go back to the thing, and Scotty makes this video. He had been up all night, and there's not a soul in sight. The fairgrounds, it's pouring down rain. It's a monsoon, and there's one 16-year-old, 17 kid laying in the dirt, the mud, water up, working on a hump.
That's dedication. That's good. You love it, or you wouldn't be out there doing it.
You know,
Oh, I love it.
you know, and like I said, look with that kid. He worked all night to get that hump where it is, and here he is. You know, so
You got to burn that
But
candle
it's-
at both ends. You do
100%.
to get where you
But
want to
it's
go.
through-
Sometimes
It's through that though that prepared me to be able to, like, I don't want to say compete at the next level, because when I went like with the big adults on like the highest stage I could get to, I definitely stumbled. I'm not going to sit here and act like I went out there and it was flawless by any means. I looked like an idiot for a couple of years. Still do, probably. But in doing that though, like, I remember the first adult like team show I ever ran, it was No Mercy. I think it was the year or two before I ran with Sickles and them. I had some like pre-ran Avalon. I got onto a team last minute with Tyler Dodd, and I think it was Cloud, or I can't, it might have been Tevin, I think. I can't remember exactly, but it was a last minute thing. And I remember that night, just like the night at that Youth National shows, it's Dunbar. So it's a monsoon, it's windy, tents are blowing everywhere.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to get the front of this Avalon fixed just to go out there for the feature.
yeah,
Because the one thing that you have when you leave the Derby is, are you able to say, did you give it all and still, like, if you didn't win, did you at least give it your all? Because if I can't answer that question with leaving that fairgrounds saying, I gave this everything I had, it is what it is, then it'll literally keep me up for a week. That losing aspect of it and not being able to give it everything I have,
yeah.
that regret, I just can't stand that regret. It's horrible.
Well, and you talk about tell us some of these, give us a little list, the rundown of some of these big shows that you ran and some of the ones you got coming up, maybe.
So, biggest shows I ran Bristol down there with the Rutherfords. That was a good one.
Yeah.
But it's even going to that, I remember, so we're leaving to go to that show, and I'm looking at that driver's list, and like, it was like being put on, like, it was like getting put in a time portal, going back to Blizzard Bash in the prime of Blizzard Bash, when it was just insane. The best drivers in the country were going to be there. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, what do I have against these guys? Well, I don't got the money. I don't got the experience because I'm like 18. But I remember driving there thinking to myself, I have to give this everything I have. I have to be willing to outwork everybody here. Because how am I going to beat a guy like John Muse or anybody else like that if I'm not willing to at least work harder than them? Right. As hard, if not harder than them. Because, and that's kind of been the thing that I've always had, is just, I'll give this everything I have.
Yeah.
And when we go home, we're going to go home.
Right. And now I tell you, you talk about John Muse and the company that he's derbied with, and I continuously remind people, listen, he's 19. He is demo derbying with the Dale Earnhardts of the best demolition derby car drivers in the country.
that's big.
And he's competing. He's 19 years old.
That's big. That's good.
I started probably at 15 or 16, and I think I was in my mid 30s. I mean, I did well up until then, but I didn't hit my prime till I was in my mid to late 30s.
You late bloomer though.
Yeah.
I did my share, but I mean, it's just amazing. He came to Deadman last year, and he's from Ohio, and we all know that things in Ohio are a little harder than things in Pennsylvania. And I remember sitting there looking out, and I'm thinking, well, there's Freebie, and then there's the Westmoreland, Pennsylvania crew sitting over there. I think they're stacked about 7 or 8 deep. And then there's Freebie and maybe Tyler Dodd. They maybe had a couple guys, but I just watched Freebie go to town one at a time out there. And he wasn't there was keeping no prisoners or making no friends. That's for sure, buddy. How'd you like that drive at the last Deadman show? Tell us about that.
Dude, that was one of those ones where I'm able to leave that fairgrounds saying I didn't win, but I gave that everything I had. Because that whole Deadman story, that story starts probably 2 or 3 months before that derby even begins. Because, so, last year I didn't derby or really do anything. I took the summer off and I went and did door-to-door sales, first in Illinois and then Milwaukee. But once with the end of the season was getting over for door to door, I was like, well, I guess we got to run a derby. Haven't done that all year. But Frankie, I kid you not, I stayed up in my room every night for the last month I was there, just daydreaming about this derby car. I read these rules in and out once a day before I went to bed. I had a whiteboard of this car and how it was going to go together and everything about it. And then when I got home, Frankie, I kid you not, I pull my Camry into the driveway, just drove 14 hours home. I get a frame out already. It's time for Deadman. We're going hard at it the second we got home.
Right.
And dude, I gave that car everything I had, and
It was massaged. You want to talk about? Let's call it massaged. You know, you see these NASCAR guys that, you know, just have a little ripple here or a ripple there, whatever. But that car was, oh my God, harder than Chinese arithmetic and unbelievable. That was a great car he built, and Scotty's been coming as a builder. Some of the hardest cars out there. He really does a nice job with these cars, and you know, coming along in that building field, and again, to compete at that level, it is different. So
he's an artist. He's dedicated. He's hardworking. He goes to church.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing I hear bad about him, he stays up all night.
He stays up.
His mom
all
yells
night.
at him occasionally.
His mom, yep. Scotty, I'm driving.
That's fantastic. We need more role models like this guy right here, and I think we'd be a lot better off.
Again, speaking of role models, you mentioned some guys, Scotty. Talk about a few of the guys that you looked up to, and I'd heard you mention a few of them, and just your thoughts on some of those guys that, like you said, then and now, that you still, and I think a lot of us do look up to.
So early on, like the person that I thought was the coolest person ever was Pete Hansen. I'll just throw that straight out there. Oh. I saw Pete run in Blizzard Bash. I was there the night him and Ryan went out there 2 versus 4.
Yeah.
Frankie, I remember thinking to myself, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like if you watch that video on YouTube, you can see little Scotty underneath who was that event? Like Decker, whoever was streaming it. I see myself in that video every time. But Pete, like I always kind of looked up to Pete, because the thing I like about Pete that I see in myself is Pete's confident, but the problem with Pete is that he gets looked at as very arrogant. Now, I love Pete to death, but Pete likes Pete. But people don't like when Pete says, I'm Pete Hansen. And I think that's one thing that people are probably going to listen to this interview and say the same thing about me. But I've always looked at it like, okay, I literally give my life to this. Now, if you want to call me cocky or arrogant, it is what it is. But I genuinely believe that I deserve to be one of the best. Now, if that's cocky or arrogant, it is what it is. But when you're giving it everything you have day in and day out, that's just a part of it. And I think it's hard because it's hard to cross the line between confidence and arrogance. And quite frankly, I don't think most people know what the difference is. But it's just one of those things. Like, I've been called cocky and arrogant since I was 10, especially in the derby world. But It is what it is.
Well, you exude the confidence, and I'll say this: you won't keep winners from winning. You'll not. I go back to my wheelbarrow story. If I said Saturday we're going to smash wheelbarrows, Scotty's wheelbarrow on Saturday would probably be better than most of the other wheelbarrows. And which I see that, you know, that was my thing coming up. They had a derby about this, that, and the other, and we're going to change the rules, do this and do that. And I just stood up and told them, we could smash beer cans. So you tell them whatever you want. Write the rules, I'll be there. but mine will be better than yours. And that's because of the confidence and the heart. And you know, of course, what's funny in Derby world, no one, when they do well, not many people say they're just good at what they do. Oh, they're cheaters, and they're this, and they're that. And I was a guy that, again, the hard truth, they're just better than I am at this. It's not, we don't need to slow them down. I need to do better. And again, part of that youth program, I try to push that. You know, I mean, there's some people out there now that think that in some of the youth stuff that, you know, because Scotty kind of ran some adult shows and then kind of went, you know, because he still met the age requirements. Now, mind you, he was 16 or 17. Well, you know, he was still met the age limits to run youth shows. So when he first started, I mean, he ran a few adult classes and done well, but he could also came back and run some youth shows. Well, my God, you know, you thought but you know, all it did is make him better. It was so controversial. This kid, he does well up there, and I'm like, well, you know, all right, well, let's take the 3 fastest guys on the track team and let's throw them off because they're fast and they're good at what they do, so that the 4th, 5th, and 6th place kid can get warm and fuzzy. That ain't me.
No.
That ain't life. That ain't real, dude.
You don't get a participation trophy at the
That ain't
Derby.
real. That ain't how life works.
No, it doesn't.
No, man. So I mean, I hear it all the time, and I get ostracized over it. And well, that kid's won an adult show, and he shouldn't want. You know what? God bless him.
Yeah, that he can be up there with the big boys.
You
and doing
better
it.
believe it. If this is the criteria that we've set, and he wants to derby in the adults, you go get it done, my man. I can't tell you. And Scotty, a little bit about that. What do you think about you dabbling in that next level and then coming back when you were still of age? How did that help you?
So it's kind of, because you get to a point where derbying's just derbying. Now, I'll be honest with you. I remember there was a couple times I was running. I think it was. I'm trying to remember this exactly. It was the last year I ran Youth Nationals, because I ran Deadman 2 that year in a pre-ran super stock car. Dude, that Youth Nationals feature was harder than the other features. Because the thing is, like, everybody there wants to win. So you don't have people like you do at Deadman just straight up throwing Hail Marys for the fun of it. You know,
right.
It's a completely different game.
Right.
But it's funny you bring this up, because it's one of those things I've always been annoyed with it. Because everybody wants to say, well, he won because of the money, or, you know, he won because he's too old and he has too much experience. What does that matter? Like, I remember the reason I didn't want to run the youth class anymore is because it wasn't challenging anymore.
Amen.
Like I'm not, that's going to sound cocky or arrogant, but I'm looking at it at the next level. Like, this is not fun anymore. Like, where's the challenge in this? I want to go out and see how good I am against the people that I've been watching since I was 10. You know what I mean? And that's how I ended up running King of Ohio and Bristol and all these other. That's why I'm going to Vegas, to see where I measure up, where I've always wondered if it would happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where you put me in that situation, I wonder what I would do. Frankie, the only reason I'm driving 30 hours and spending way too much money to go run this Vegas show is because the last time they had Vegas, and I'm just a wee little kid, I remember sitting there telling myself, if I ever get the opportunity to do that, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to give it everything I got. Maybe I win, maybe I don't. But I just want to see. I want to see where I rank out there.
I'm going to talk about the minority, not the majority, because competing today. I think Derby world, some of the hard truths is nobody wants to compete. Nobody wants to pay the price. And there are a few, and I'll tell them, and I'll say this again. People say, well, the same guy, because the same guy is willing to sacrifice the time, the effort, and money. The names don't change. And I don't care what rule set you write. You write whatever rule set you want. You write the rules, I'll play the game. Period. And he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys that this is the softest, going to Vegas, we've been talking. This is the softest car. this is so out of his realm. These cars are very, very stock. So the build changes from a car that I could drive through brick walls that, hey, man, if I hit that brick wall, it's probably going to push a rail back to my motor. So things change. The target, I mean, how we talked a little bit about, building for the bend and tire choices. And I was fortunate enough the Las Vegas show to be a part of it as an inspector and out there, and got a good feel of what things, and watched Pete Hansen throw the Hail Mary. And
Anybody have any cupcakes after you were out there?
No cupcakes.
They know your secret.
I think me and Casey, they did give a little bottle of whiskey away, and as we walked down that street with all the lights, me and Casey were in the back sipping it. Don't tell nobody. That brown and stuff. We were by the time
we won't tell anybody.
We won't tell anybody. My buddy Casey, and again, you talk about family and how close that team that won. I mean, it was the Smith Metalworks team, but I, as a promoter of Pennsylvania and with Johnny, I was able to pick I was one of the promoters that got to pick a leader, a captain. And so Corey Roman was my pick, and Corey did get a spot. And then that's how Pete and those guys all got up there and went out there, and the PA posse put it on them out there. So we're all rooting for the PA guys in Ohio and the East Coast to do well out there. Again, it's a little different. Scotty, we talk about East Coast, West Coast. Talk a little bit about that and your rule set and reading the rules. And me and you even exchanged some pictures the other day that looks weird to us. Like, what the heck is that? What have you found in that rule set that's...
Well, so with every show I run, the way I usually approach it is I look at the rules and I was like, okay, they don't want me to have a tank, but how am I going to build a tank out of this? You got to find the commas, you got to find all this stuff, But with this rule set, the way Standard's doing everything, that's just not possible.
Right.
And it's not possible because of the rules. It's not possible because that's how they want it to be. Everybody's going to have stock cars out there. So the way I'm setting everything up for this is, okay, after the heat, we're gonna just flip the script completely. We're building a kicker car, okay?
Yeah.
Probably not, but it'd be cool if we could. But it's just changed with how you build the car because everything has to bend. Everything's gonna be completely different. Like, because they don't have a consi out there, so I'm looking at this like, okay, if this car's junk after the heat, it's junk after the heat. We gotta fix it. But how can we go about doing that? What things can we do to make it easier to fix? What's gonna make our life easier? Because, and honestly, like with this, I'm kind of weirdly comfortable with the whole thing because I'm kind of like, hey man, it is what it is,
Right.
We can't build the hardest car. Everything comes into driving with this one.
Yeah.
After the heat, we can really fix them, hopefully.
Yeah.
But it's just getting there is going to be the first part,
Getting through the heats, and we talked a lot about the track and some other things and stuff. So for sure.
Well, what's the journey like there, Scotty, for you to take your car out to Vegas? Like, what's going to be the path there for you?
So for us, so one of our buddies who's also running that show, we're going to put our both cars on the same trailer with all the tools and everything and just roll out together and then meet him there.
Straight across?
But
one shot?
so. I'm flying. Him and his wife are driving out. We're flying. Thankfully.
Oh, you lucked out.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too.
Okay, you lucked out. Rockstar rolling in, getting in the car.
Getting in the freebies corporate jet.
Nice.
I wish. I say we're either going to go out there and we're going to work really hard for a week, or we're going to be really mad for a week until we get to go home. There's not really going to be an in-between.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, what kind of car is like your favorite car to run? I know you mentioned a Lincoln, a Camry, all kinds of different ones there. What's your favorite?
So it all kind of depends because, like, the thing about Derby is each rule set requires a different car.
Got it.
Like this Vegas show, it requires an old iron. Personally, I'm not a big old iron fan, but this show is so stock it requires an old iron. But yet like this goes back to like what I was saying with I look at the rules and I say, okay, they don't want me to have a tank, but how are we going to do that? And then based off the plate rules and how everything falls on the frame and everything, that's how I really decide what type of car I like to run. Like lately, I've been getting into 03s, and I love a 95 Lincoln body. Those bodies are just it's just something about them. I love them.
So you're putting the 95 Lincoln on the 03 and up frame.
Hypothetically, we might be doing that. I don't know. I can't confirm or deny this. You know what I mean?
Right. I get you. I
don't know. Which I'm kind of excited because I'm building one of those cars here soon, which it'll be fun. I haven't gotten to build a car like that in a while. But I don't know. I'm just excited because we're going to be derbying this year. The plan is to just build this Vegas car, a car for that Maple City show. And then probably just take what's left to county fairs all summer long and go from there.
And that's looking forward to all those things.
Nice. We got a couple pictures here, and I can see your car lot, because you got to have a lot of those cars. Just like me, I'm a biker and kayaker, and I keep telling my wife, well, I got to have a car. I got to have a bike for this.
Right.
I got to have a kayak for that water, the creek boat, all these different kinds.
Total sense to me.
And it just keeps going. Us guys, we always got to have those different arrows in our quiver, right?
Yeah.
For whatever we're doing. And this derby case is one. But I can see your lot that you got here, and there's all kinds of good cars that you got going on here. Tell us a little bit about some of these that you got going on here, if you can see them.
So that car there on the trailer, the Iceman car, that was the car that I took to Deadman. It wouldn't have been this year, it would have been last year, because this is when we were going to No Mercy.
Yeah.
And then that Metric GM on the front, I think that's Steven Sickles, as we were supposed to run that down in Florida in that Humpty Dumpty class, but we didn't end up doing it. But then the other car on the back of that trailer's on the back of the motorhome. That was Dad's car, and it was cool how it all worked out, because that derby. So we went and ran that derby, and I had to leave that Sunday to go fly out. Well, didn't fly out. We drove out to Illinois, and my knocking doors summer started.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to make that scratch.
Yeah, that was that was a heartfelt move on your part. To leave something you loved and take a leap of faith and go do that. And, again, it was something to just quit cold turkey and go out there and do that, Scotty. Tell us a little bit about that summer or that year that you, let's say, walked away.
Walked away. This is going to be good.
So the thing, I love derbying. But the problem with derbying is I can't, most people, they can balance regular life out from derbying. I cannot do that. We're either all derbying or we're not touching derbying. We're looking in the opposite direction. And I think that's part of the reason of why I did that and I moved away for the summer, because it was really hard. I'm not going to lie to you. I remember sitting there watching Zach and Tony and those guys win the bash. It was a very bittersweet moment, because it's congratulations, but it was that regret and that just I should be there and I'm missing out feeling. I
should be there, yeah.
But you realize, though, Frankie, and I think the thing that I realized the most this summer is that derbying really doesn't matter. There's way more to life than Demolition Derby. And once you realize that, it you're able to step back and be like, okay, well, there's always going to be next year. And well, there is next year. We're running shows this year. You know what I mean?
Right.
But going out there, the thing I learned the most, it's just you can outwork most people. Well, there's only a few people that outworking won't get. Because I'm not going to sit here and act like I was some great salesman. I was horrible in the beginning. And even at the end, I wasn't the greatest. But I would just work. As hard as I could for as long as I could. I'd wake up, go to the gym first. I was just giving it everything I had, as much as I could. And I think the reason when we got home and I went so hard on that Deadman car is because I I knew what real discipline was. You know what I mean? And that's one of those things everybody thinks like they're disciplined, but most people are just running on motivation. But Frankie, I kid you not, you can ask anybody that was in my crew when we went to Deadman. I was an animal for a month.
Yeah.
A solid month. Like going to Deadman, 2 days leaving, I slept the night before we left for about 6 hours, mainly because I barely slept at all that week, but I knew that was that last stretch. Frankie, we were supposed to leave for Deadman at like 5 p.m. My boy Ryan Mitchell was with me. Frankie, we didn't get on the road till 5 a.m. Like
Right.
we're pulling, like he's telling me, Scotty, you gotta stop welding. We haven't even packed up yet.
Right.
And I'm like, but it's just that discipline of just like, we got to get this thing done. We got to be the best we can be. Because when you go to show, like when we were going to Deadman, like I thought that was going to be the year I finally win it.
Yeah.
And I gave it everything I had. Now, granted I got second, but like I don't know. I'm able to leave that situation okay with it because I gave it everything I had. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It was a great run. I mean, it was almost his. I'll say it was almost his. You know, watching the show, it was his to lose. And I'll talk about our boy Mark Elliott and the Derby gods and aligning and just the stars, and if it's your night or if it's not your night. I just watched Capital City Carnage where the guy made the last hit. And they interviewed him. He was the winner. And on the last hit, he broke his transmission. So he couldn't move. He couldn't. That was it. He couldn't have went another inch. And we talk about that luck or that, hey, because the car was on a little bit of a hill. You know, I've won derbies. I remember New Alec, and I'm against one of the better drivers out there, and it's a big rainy night. And I run we go back to back with another guy in a wagon. And my eyes, when I say hear it, see it, smell it, feel it, I watch the corner of that wagon when I hit him dip. Just tweak, just dip. And I held it there for a minute, and I'm saying, something, he's in a spot, he's in a thing, or, the perception, like, it's so weird the senses and like I pulled away and like, you know what? He couldn't move. Like, it was so subtle, but to me it was like fluorescent orange in the woods. I like, hey, you know what I mean, Scotty, right? I mean, all those things that
you were at one.
When people tell you about driving inside a car and we talk, let's go back to one of Pete's flipping that switch. If you remember shifting, if you thought or thinking about it, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
If it isn't something that is just, if you have to think about going forward before you go forward, you're not in the seat. You're not. It's something that happens. Listen to me. I'm sorry, instrument. But it's just in. If you got to think about it, you're too late.
Yeah, it's your instrument. Like, when you play the guitar or the piano, you're not thinking about it. You're making the music, right?
It's in the moment, and you, like I said, man, just those subtle things, and you feel it, you see it, and Scotty's one of those. As a builder, and as a young builder, when you put a car together, and as you work on it you get to know it, and when something's not, you know every inch and every part and every bolt, and there was an instance in the youth class where Scotty, all of a sudden we're out there and Scotty loses steering. Like, bang, this kid's stuck in the junk, things can't turn. And then tell us about that, Scotty. What happened in the car? All of a sudden, the kid was bullshitting us or something. Like, what happened? Tell us.
So that was, I'm trying to remember. I think that was the year. No, that was the year I won King of Ohio. Okay, now mind you, this car's ran the Bash. It ran King of Ohio, 2 heats and features show. And we take it to one of Frankie's shows. Now, this car was used up. Okay, it was on its last life. We just go out there. We're doing some derbying, So we go out there. It was me, Cole Teets, Ryan Clark, and I think that's who the top 3 was. I can't remember exactly.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was. Because what happened is it gets down to top 5, but the car bent so much, the steering column locked up. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, this sucks. How am I going to win this one? Okay. How am I going to figure this one out?
Right.
So,
Forward and back.
but I was able to just maneuver it just enough to stay in contact, because Ryan and Cole, they were kind of chasing each other around. So I was able to stay in contact. But, so there's a red flag for something. I don't remember what it was. But I'm sitting there like, I'm not losing. Like, I remember sitting there thinking to myself, like, I'm not losing tonight. I'm not going to let this happen. So I start figuring something out. And so ever since as long as I can remember, my dad has always had a pair of vice grips in the car with him. I don't know why he said, well, if you ever need it, you're going to have it. We needed it that day, because what I did on that red flag, I reach up, I grab those vice grips, I start taking the column apart. I drop the Heim joints out, lost the nuts. But who cares, though? If you lose the nuts, you lose the nuts. I drop this column down, and I have it in my lap. And all I remember is I start turning this thing, and I'm like, there is no way I pull this off.
He fit, from the knowledge to take it off dropping the nuts and straighten it, took it off the bind. And now the kid's out there wheeling with the steering columns laying on his lap.
Fixing the car while he's driving the car.
Amen.
Dude, I remember
It's awesome.
I was able to...
Where did that come? What did he do? I mean, we're looking out there and it's steering again. Like, there was no steering.
That's a pro.
And it worked perfect, because in the meantime, while I was just barely alive, Ryan and Cole went at each other just enough to the point where Cole was basically junked. Ryan had broke steering, and I just shoved Ryan down into the corner. And dude, I was like, there is no way.
Yeah, what a move.
I remember as I'm in that car, I remember thinking to myself about a story from, I think it was Toby. Something came off with the throttle cable one night somewhere. I don't remember the story exactly. But I think it was his boot string or a tarp or something, and he reaches through the firewall, puts it on the carburetor, has enough, able to control the throttle, and wins the Derby. I'm thinking to myself, like, this is my Tobe moment.
Well,
but that comes...
Yeah. Go ahead.
But that comes, Frankie, from understanding that car and building it from the ground up and everything like that. You know what I mean? That comes from the hours in the garage.
Absolutely. And you talk about, before the days of derby car gas pedals and all this stuff, we didn't have that when I started. So one of the things that happened as a driver in the old days was, once the car started to bend, the cable, the gas pedal cable would stretch, and then it wouldn't either go down or come. You had no throttle. Mm-hmm. So we started putting we would drill a hole in the throttle linkage on the carburetor, and I'd put a coat hanger or a piece of all thread.
Nice.
So when we got to the bent and the cable wouldn't go anymore, guess what?
Little backup.
Vroom, vroom, vroom. We pull that. Vroom, vroom. Let's go, man. I'm not done yet.
Nice.
I'm not done yet, man.
That's great.
So, again, and boy, I do get emotional, because like those, I see these kids and the innovativeness, and wow. And it does hit me, man. I mean, how great this sport that we were in. And, Scotty, there was that little clip, right, the last one after Deadman, we went to Illinois, right? Yeah, November, Turkey Derby with Top Notch and Bill Miller. Tell us, here's a whole nother, tell us, let's go there. Let's go to Illinois, Turkey Derby, Top Notch, Bill Miller crew, and Beth and them out there. Shout out to Top Notch and Bill Miller, by the way. Bill, how you doing, buddy? I talked to him on the phone the other day. Still a great guy. Miss him to death. But let's go there, Scotty.
So, which part of the story do you want to know there, Frankie?
Start from, I took my Deadman car, and we took a hard car and made it harder. Let's underbuild it. We
So-
underbuild it.
We get home from Deadman, and like, I ain't gonna lie to you, like I've had derby fever before, but nothing like that. I did
Yeah.
derby all summer. I just want to go derbying. So I come home. The front of that car from Deadman, I had to. I forget what I had to do with it, but I basically had to fix it up. Put a new trans in it, and get all that stuff ready. And Bill Miller's having this show, and I was like, I mean, it's a hard car, so we weld her up a little bit. We get there, it's looking like a Frankenstein car, But hey, he said, I was told no dumpsters, like no cars with 2x2 all over the side of them and everything.
Right.
And it was weird though, because like that show, all these guys from out there were supposed to show up. Like this was supposed to be like a dogfight, everybody
Yeah.
from out of town against me. And I just wanted a derby. So I was like, you know what? We're either going to go and get junked or we're going to just pull off something amazing and have a great story from it.
Yeah.
So, but there was a snowstorm coming in, so it kind of scared everybody off. So I went out there with the Penwells. So I go down to Penwells, get on their truck and trailer, and we start rolling out. It's me and Billy Penwell drove like 8 hours out Illinois. I'll never forget it. Dude, we're driving down because like it's Penwell, so they haven't slept in a week.
Right.
Billy looks like he's dancing on the grave
Listen,
right now. I'm like, bro, are you all right?
I love Billy Penwell to death, but when they come to the Derby and Pap Penwell looks like a homeless man. I ain't lying. I love him to death. Pap Penwell. I said, Pap. I said, wait, what's? I mean, this guy is sleeping in. Matter of fact, Cam or something. They were sleeping on cardboard in the garage. I mean, these guys. And I'm not saying, but Penwell's. I mean, they're wonderful people. They're kind of well off a little bit, and they don't need to be sleeping on. But these people and the dedication. And like I said, Pat Penwell got a cigarette, and I burning his hair, one eye open, and I'm like, oh my God, But listen, it's time to derby car cuckoos. Keep going, because that Penwell story even gets better from Illinois. That I got more to add about the Illinois show Penwells.
We go. It's me, Penwells, and then I think Ratchet and Rafferty's. They went with us too. Yeah. So in the truck. It's me, Billy are up front. Cam and Ratchet are in the back seat.
Snowstorm coming.
Billy hasn't slept in a week, so I'm driving. I'm playing Christmas music, just having a grand old time. Billy's just shaking his head. So we get finally I take a nap because I ain't gonna lie to Frank, I didn't sleep much either.
Right.
But we get to Illinois and we're driving through a pretty bad snowstorm, and then we get lost. Right. So we're in the middle of nowhere. Roads are covered in snow. Roger's mad because we missed the GPS exit. I'm laughing. It's hilarious.
Ratchet and Cam Snapchatting everybody across the world.
Dude, I look back, I'm singing Christmas carols at 3 a.m. We're driving out. And Ratchet's recording me. I'm like, how are you about to record me right now? This is my personal time.
Right.
So we get there. Okay, we pull in. We're a little late. And
well, wait a minute. They put the kids in the back were the navigators, so they go to the wrong fairgrounds. You understand? You
got to be at the right fairgrounds at least.
The Ratchet and them, they're snapping, chatting. Me and Mark Elliott went too, but we left. Mark, well, we're going to leave. It just kept getting during that week. It just kept. Well, we're going to leave Thursday. We're going to leave. Well, Thursday morning. Well, Wednesday night. Well, let's just leave because the snow's coming. I mean, I don't know how many days we were there ahead of time, but we left before the snow got in and got pretty lucky out there. But yeah, they first Cam, Ratchet in the back, Snapchatting, and they plugged the wrong fairgrounds in. So you guys go to the whole wrong place to start with, right?
Oh yeah, dude. Roger was mad. Billy was mad, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I was doing everything to not cry and laugh because Billy was so mad. We go to the gas station. We're like, well, this was right before we left. I get some sparkling water. Tony's making fun of me, dude. I love those people. It was awesome. Yep. But we get to the Derby, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking around like I'm underbuilt. You know what I mean? And I'll never forget it. Petke comes up. He's like, Bill, did you say you could run this thing? He's like, yeah. What are you talking about? He's like, I can't believe it. This is what this class is. Like, he's trying to load me, and I'm like, bro, I'm underbuilt. He didn't find that nearly as funny as I did, so I go back, I cut a little bit. And mind you, it's like, it was, like, I can't tell, was it a monsoon, or I can't remember what it was. I remember it was cold and wet.
Yeah, no, the snow, like, it snowed everywhere around us, but there, remember?
Yeah, that was it.
Like, it was just, it was cold, but if you went 30 minutes in any direction, there was a foot of snow. In Illinois, of all places, we're in Illinois.
Dude, I'll never forget it. We're sitting there. I have a video somewhere of it. Cam and Ratchet are out there derbying, and I'm sitting in the truck with Frankie.
Yeah.
I'm like, Frankie, this is the worst Yuki I've ever seen in my life, dude. They're rubbing doors like it's the bash. I'm like, what are we doing, Frankie?
Cam and Ratchet rubbing butts again. Here we go. Here we go. They're gonna hit Scotty.
Like,
they're gonna hit somebody. I said maybe tomorrow, Scotty.
Maybe tomorrow, dude. The track's muddy. It was horrible.
And then listen, all them cars that went through inspection. I remember Cam's car, the youth car, which happened to be a 75 or whatever Leaf Spring GM wagon, by the way. It had more yellow on it than any car the whole weekend long. I said it's a Penwell youth car. I mean, there was yellow up the sides, down the sides. Because that's when Mark Elliott was cooking hot dogs. He would pull up to the fire. We were making hot dogs outside of the all out of the door. But just what a great time. And like I said, you talk about that time and things that nobody see. I had a great moment with Gage Sumner that weekend. You know, people say, "Why, Frankie? Why do you drive 12 hours to Illinois, and why do you do this?" Number one, Bill Miller and the guys at Top Notch have done nothing but supported me and hardcore from the beginning. And when he's having a show, and I don't care how far it was, I'm going to go support him to the fullest. And but when I go there, that again, Gage jumps in the car and we talk about this, and we were giving out nominations, and I'm holding, can't see. I'm like, Gage, whose number is it? And he's like, he jump out and look, and then Scotty comes and sits, and or discussions or those moments in time for me are priceless. Those are things that nobody talks about or gets to see, So we talked to Scotty, and I think it was, the word on the street was Mom and Dad didn't make it. They're always usually there, but for whatever reason, Dad was working at the airport, and Mom just didn't go. But
Mom showed up last second to the Derby.
Listen, and nobody knew because she went over and sits in the stands. Well, guess what? Mom's a cowbell. All right, so a lot of the Derby car, we all knew that, hey, Mom or Dad wasn't there. Scotty's running. Tell us about that. You got ahead of us. Tell us about going into Derby and what happens in the arena when you get out there in Illinois. So
how Illinois is, it's like Illinois is like Ohio. If you're not from Ohio, you're probably not going to go well. Like I'm going there thinking to myself, like, this is probably going to be a dogfight.
Yes, sir, Bob.
But like, in doing that though, like I came to that show ready for that. Like I knew, like there's a high chance we're gonna go out there. There's gonna be 10 guys on me. We'll take those odds and we're just gonna derby. Yeah. But we get out there, and it was like the weirdest thing ever because there was enough in battles between these guys where I just go out and I'm like I'll never forget. I was like, they started the derby.
Storm. And you kept waiting for the storm, and I'm watching the Derby too. And it's like, I'm waiting for him to get just mauled. And it's like, they haven't got him yet. Like, they were holding on. There was some good, these cars are extremely, and I'm like, they're holding. And it's not coming. And then we keep getting, like you said, a couple of them got in their own deal, and Scotty stayed out of that. Their own deal. And then they hurt themselves, punched themselves out on each other a little bit, and go ahead. I'm taking your Mark. If Mark Elliott was there, he'd tell me, "Shut up, let the kid talk."
You got to know when to sandbag and know when to get in there.
But dude, like they start the derby, and I'm on one side of the track. I go to that corner out because that's the side that's supposed to be good because it's been raining all day. Dude, I kid you not, everybody went to the other end of the track.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there like, oh gosh, well, time to get her done, boys. Let's see how she goes.
Yeah.
And they just never came to my end.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, okay, like this is weird.
Yeah.
But like, and it was one of those things. I just stayed out of it, you know. I looked like a complete bagger, I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm looking at it like, okay, they're all just killing each other.
Yeah.
Nobody's noticing me, so we're just going to, like, stay out of it, you know what I mean?
They didn't bring that fight. And this is when I get kind of excited, and I get out, and I jump on the wall because, you know, I got some clout. So I jump out on the wall, and I'm videotaping this thing, man. And I'm like, because I had a ringside seat, of course. I was in the truck. I always park right where I was old and cold. I was sitting right where I could see the arena. Bill lets me park up front.
Got the heater on.
Yeah, man, radio wipers. I got out, and I'm like, he's going to pull this off. We're down to about 3 or 4 cars. I'm like, this kid is going to. I mean, his car looks the best. The other ones are wounded. He's still, you know, and then you did take a wheel shot at some point.
Yeah.
That kind of, go ahead. Tell us about that. It kind of changed things.
I was running 700s, but I forgot. Apparently, the one it wasn't doubled. It was just tubed. So I take a wheel shot, and it drops me down in the front. But it was weird, though, because after Deadman, so once I pulled the motor and everything out of it, but the timing got loose on the engine. So we were kind of fighting it for a little bit. We couldn't get it exactly right. Like, my dad looked at it, Gage looked at it out there. Like, we couldn't really get it right. But for some reason, that thing just got really hot. And, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, rods are trophies, you know, as the Penwells say. We're already here.
Yeah.
But it was weird, though, because it kind of played into my favor. Because getting towards the end of the Derby, it was me, Julian Suter, and I think he had an 03. I think it was a square body Crown Vic. I can't remember exactly.
There was, yeah.
But getting down towards the end of it, Julian, he's sitting perfect. Like, everything on that car is perfect. Steering, coal, like everything. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, this guy, we got to figure out how to get him. Because I'll burden this thing to the ground, but I really don't want to. You know what I mean?
Right.
But luckily, though, I was able to catch one of his back tires, and so he was running run flats, I think, and it just shredded the tire. But we kind of got him up against the wall and to the point where the other guy in the square body, he came, just shoved him up, and we kind of just held him there to the point where he was stuck.
Yeah.
But then right when he was stuck, I knew, okay, I gotta figure out a play right here, because this guy doesn't have steering, and I gotta get out of here. So I hit him. The second Julian brakes, and I go. And it was weird though, because like there was so much steam and everything rolling from inside this car, you couldn't see me. Like, it was like a smoke screen.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting here going back and forth just so I could see enough to figure out where this guy is to play the game just until that clock runs out.
Yeah.
And dude, we get up. That motor, it was so hot, I turned it off afterwards. She didn't even refire for a little bit. She just cool down, you know, start back up after a while. But it was cool, though, because our goal between me, Cam, and Ratchet, he sent me a video of it somewhere. It's a video of Cam, just a picture of my car, and he's like, well, we did it. The goal was to come out here and get the best place we could all get. Cam and Ratchet went 1 and 2, I think, and then I won.
Yeah.
So it was a really cool thing hanging out with the Penwells. It's just a great Derby memory, you know what I mean?
No, again, making memories money can't buy. People say and do, and back to the Penwells again, man. I watched those guys. I think we were there they were there in the summer too, and they didn't have a room, but they stayed over. I mean, these guys, the sacrifices. People will call them and say and do what they want about these Derby guard drivers, and they're this and they got that, but you know what they don't got is they ain't got the will, and they don't have the drive that some of these people do. Take all their money, take all their everything away from Scott, any of these drivers. They got one thing that the other ones don't. They got heart, soul, and will. They got the power in what I always ask what burns, and this goes a little bit. I mean, my 5:30 a.m. call with Mark Elliott every morning. Just recently, what burns inside of us, and we talk about us as derby car drivers, but then it bleeds over to what we do in the world and work, and the way when Scotty goes to work, wherever he works, he's going to excel because he's willing to do the extra. If it's we've done it 5 and we need to stay till 6 to get it done, guess what? Scotty and those other guys, some of the other people, will stay till 7. This is what the hard truths about derby car. They can have all they want, but they ain't got the fire that burns in these guys, not only in demolition derby, but in life. They make other people uncomfortable because the other people are satisfied. They're happy with where they're at or what they're doing. Don't make me step up and do more or stay another hour or stay up all night and work on the car because I'm not doing it. But he's a cheater. He's this, he's that. Again, no one says, hey, they're good at it. Some of the hard truths, Steve. We talked about why I wanted to do this and getting to know these people as people and as persons.
And have fun.
And have fun and make those memories.
Yeah, and talk about those memories. And what I'm wondering is, does derby attract great people or does derby make great people?
Boy, that's a good question, Scott. That's, I've never been asked that.
Because you're a resourceful person to come into it. You got to be good with mechanics and all that. But, all these layers that you build with derby, does it attract good people or does it make you a good person?
Boy, the attraction. Go ahead, Scotty. What do you think? I got my opinion. Let's hear yours first.
I think it attracts a lot of good and a lot of bad people.
Yeah.
As sad as that is to say, like, we're only telling you guys the sunshine and rainbows of everything. I've been screwed in the derby world more times than I can count. That's just how the derby world is. But the people that you meet and grow close with, those are real people. Those are great people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's nothing like them.
Because I remember early on when I first started talking to Tony Penwell, I probably was, we'll go 17, 18. He said, derbying is exactly like life, and it is. And you're not going to be able to get to the top of life if you're a dirty, bad person, just the same way you're not going to be able to get to the top of derbying if you're that same way for a long period of time. Like, you can get lucky once, I guess you could say, but to stay on the top, you have to be the right person. You have to give it everything you have, you know what I mean? But on the contrary, the bad are bad. There's not, derby people, they're either really good or really bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my thing was too, when you say the people attracts, I'm on the same page as both far ends, both as far, the worst and the best of the best. And there's some in the middle, there's some quarter, there's some 75%. To what degree? But it is, and it's all walks of life. It's a guy hauling a car in the pits that they sold their green card or whatever you call them, Freddie's. They sold their food stamps to get there in a van or in a truck that barely made. Or there's some guy in an $80,000 $100,000 dually with a $30,000 box truck or a motorhome toter home driving, hey, we drove 12, it's all over the board. And I say, part of the I've done with the youth is I've made it a little cookie cutter. I'll admit that. I made it a little cookie cutter. Because I know the next level. Right now I want to keep it to a small roar and friendly and more about not so much all derbying, because the next level of derbying can be ugly. There's people that get threats and just threaten. I remember getting phone calls, back in the day, don't come here or work, this, that, and the other. Like Scotty said, man, going to a place and 5 or 6 of them just beating you to death and trying to run you over. Standing on the back of the trailer with a crescent wrench, hoping maybe or maybe not we're going to get out of here. You know.
You're not talking about Stoneborough, are you?
No, Stoneborough is pretty friendly, but I mean, I think every derby place has had their moments, and part of it's bad, part of it's some of it's passion, some of it's that's switch that's flipped, like Scotty or like Pete, and they're good guys. But listen, when they're in that car, me included, and then those good ones, that once that switch is flipped, they're not the same Scotty, they're not the same Pete, they're not the same Frankie Guy, they're not the same Gage, they're not the same Mark Elliott, they're not the same Don Santel, Jonathan Howman, Stevie Sickles, laid back, funny, gets in that car, look in his eyes. Pulls up to you, as an official, you get to see him. I mean, Jonathan Howman, look in their eye. It's different. Mm-hmm. You feel it, you see it. That when they say the eye of the tiger, it gives me a little goosebumps, because being on the wall and all the years, and I've seen that look. I've seen the eyes of Steve Siopa through his goggles.
He's one of those ones. He is one of those ones.
That
whole crew has that way. They're just mad the whole time.
I've seen his eyes.
The funniest thing
You can't
ever.
see nothing but their eyes, but you know exactly what they're thinking and saying. I've seen those eyes, and man, right? So there's Scotty. You know what I mean about being in that car. There's another thing, Scotty. We just opened up that can.
The fun part is that, Frank, I'm glad you brought that up, because I love Steve and I like all those guys. But I love going against those guys because of how serious they take it. You know what I mean? Like, you go against Steve, dude, when I went, every time you go against Steve, he's just mad. Like, you just like, I'm Steve Siopa. Dude, I love smiling at him every time we're on the track together. It's the funniest thing ever.
Right.
Like, those types of people, when they're just, like, locked in and they just get into that mindset, like, being able to, like, be in that state, too, but still smile at them, it's the funniest. Like, I laugh myself to death in those cars. It's the funniest thing ever.
And Steve, we love you, Steve. One of the best guys in the Derby community.
Oh, I love Steve.
The Siopas out of Pittsburgh helped on our level of, helped create go back to the 80s and their dad and, the 70s and, building cars over with you watch some of those guys, but, hats off to Steve and Siopas and all those guys that we ran out there and New Alec and stuff. And the great friendships and the great people that we've met, talk about Chris and Nick Quinsler, Donut, their dad. You find, if you didn't know Donut, you knew where that fuse was. where Nick, when Nick flips that switch, I said, man, that's Dad, that's Donut, man. Chris and Nick's dad. Again, I wasn't the most liked guy in the arena, but just he loved the controversial. When he'd come to Fayette County and run with us, freebie, he'd paint his car black and yellow and put Paint Masters on the side, just to hey man, and man, you know what? There was me and there was him and then there was 40 of them. But you know what, man? I'd have went to a war because there are two of us, just like you said, man. We'll take all 40 of them on. We may not win, but I mean, there are going to be a lot of casualties when we back off of there, So. But yeah, those are all amazing, really amazing times and amazing things. And
but circling back to Steve real quick, like the thing that I liked the most about Deadman and like Derby and in general is that you're always able. Like, I'm just gonna use Steve as an example for this. Like, for as long as I can remember, I wanted to beat Steve. I don't know why. Steve's cool. I love him to death, but I've always wanted to beat Steve. Steve beat me, and I'm like, all right, okay, I'm gonna get you. I'm coming for you. Yep. And he did it again. But dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is gonna sound really bad. When we're at Deadman and I'm just packing him in that corner, Like it was business, but I was smiling because I was like, I knew it. I punched the roof during the Derby because I was like, oh yes, I knew that was coming.
But
like
the humbleness, like you said, Gage this last show.
Yeah.
You can be on the top tier one week and go to the Derby the next one and, man, be the first one out.
Yeah, that's how Derbying is. I might go to Vegas and be horrible, but
draw the short end of the stick. Have a bad run, or work, like the car's not working right. For some reason I'm always losing this, or I ain't got this figured out or worked out. But again, the amazing people and that all that we put into this, it's so much more than a sport.
The competition side of derbying is, I think, something that everybody overlooks with everything. Like, I'm gonna use the Allens for example, like Brady and Allen and Devin Allen. Great guys, really great guys. But when I ran King of Ohio, bought the Cadillac, did all that stuff, went out there, got embarrassed. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was mad about that. But it's through that though that made me better. And another story, getting beat by guys that are better than you, but you don't you just want to beat that's what I think drives most people. For example, Ethan Durr.
Yeah.
I'm pretty close with him. Great kid.
Great kid.
So the year I won the youth at the King of Ohio, it was him and Cam out there, and then I had my crew or whatever. But Durr told me the other day, he's like, dude, I'm not going to lie. I'm still mad you beat me at King of Ohio. The only reason I want to get better is so that when the day comes, I can beat you.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Now, people can say that's not healthy or whatever it is, but that competition, it fuels Demolition Derby, and I love every aspect of it.
Yeah.
I love going to those situations and to those shows, because the thing about derbying is it's a level playing field. When you're on that track, it's what did you do versus what did that guy do, and how are you going to use it. That's Demolition Derby as simply as you can get it.
Yes.
And being able to just go out there and compete, it's just a great feeling. Whether you win or you lose, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's probably why I'm hooked to derbying. You know what I mean?
Well, for me, it was the 200. Bad boys. Dan, the man, Trent. Listen, I've never been hit so hard. I've never been schooled. I've never been embarrassed so many times than I have that man, Dan Trent, whipped my behind. But there was a time and a place and a day, 44 cars, 40 Leaf Spring GM wagons, 1 hour and 28 minutes later, there's 2 people left, Frankie Guy and Danny Trent.
Nice.
This is after 20-some years, 20-plus years of trying or navigating or driving, and I finally beat him. And I just got chills because I'll never ever forget that night, or the feeling that you talked about, in I had been 20-some years, and you talked about I don't got nothing to prove to anybody. That slate was shiny, smooth, clean, new. I became the best of the best, and I beat the best of the best doing it.
You came out of there 10 feet tall and bulletproof.
Wow. That feeling, Scotty, of like you said, winning Deadman, or I think I ran that show 16 times over my years. First, I was second, third. Should have won it the one year. Michelle, my wife, I had to put a set of head gaskets on a car, and I left the one thing on my fuel line I didn't finish because I was putting head gaskets on my wife's derby car, but she had to run too. And I didn't finish the one thing that beat me in the end. I'll never forget that either. God bless her.
The good with the bad. We love those women.
Miss Earnhardt, show up and drive. Fell asleep on a Sunday getting head gaskets. Hit the Jersey barrier. I was up all night. Oh man! But that a feeling of accomplishment, and I take a ribbon. Then I wasn't the most aggressive driver, but one of the other things, and Scotty, I used to talk to Scotty about finishing. Let's talk about, Scotty, the evolution of your driving abilities from I used to eat your ass about let's finish to where you're at now. Let's go there. How I've watched you grow into that spot, and there's some of the things we talk about doing work.
So, when I first started it, like, I was the definition of a bagger. It was amazing. Like, I could run the same stock car all summer long, and it'd have 3 more dents every run. You know
Pink
what I mean?
balloons.
But over a while, though, like, there was a year where I was just stuck in second. I could get down to the bottom, but like that chess match part of it, I just had no idea what to do with it. And then I went out for I think it was a weekend or a week with Casey Smith, and we basically he taught me how to finish a derby. Just helped
Amen.
Just helped me perfect that skill of everything. Yep. Dude, I kid you not, I literally won a derby like a week or two after that.
Nice.
I'll never forget me and Casey talking about that. And when you knew you were coming to the Smith had a driving school, and you going up there, and me and Casey teach him to finish. Just what he said. And I can't think of a better guy. But go ahead, keep going, buddy. I interrupt you. I'm sorry.
It's important to have those mentors.
Yeah. But finish.
But what you realize is, like, when you're derbying, there's 2 types of derbying. There's we're going to just hang out till the end and we're just going to clean it up and win. And then there's the dominating style of derbying. The dominating style of derbying, if you can pull it off, is the coolest thing ever. But in that, it's a lot harder to do because you're literally going out there junking everybody. I think it's junking everybody you get reapers for, but Frankie Guy's like, no, that's called doing.
You gotta break the radiator to be a reaper.
Oh, here we go.
You can't be a reaper if you don't break the radiator.
Here we go. But when you go out there and you're just tactical with it, and you're taking wheels, you're clearing rides, you're doing what you need to do and what the car is designed to do at a high level, that's doing work. But you can also just do nothing and just lay low, and I've done that a lot. It's a lot of fun. It's a little boring, but it's kind of like just like to look at the scenery, you know what I mean?
No, but the last couple of years watching you, as we call it, do work, what a difference, Scotty. What a difference in you then and now. The precision, no wasted shots, no wasted effort. Right on, dead center on. Scotty hits him. He hurts him. I mean, it hurts. The other cars hurt. It wasn't just a hit. I just didn't bump him. I hit him where I wanted to hit him and how I wanted to.
Like a surgeon.
Doing work.
Exactly.
I'm in control. I used to call it I'm in control. Think it, do it. Think it, do it. Think it, do it. I'm like, I'm in control.
Nice.
Exactly. Which, like, that's the reason I've never really been a fan of stock cars, because you don't really have enough of a weapon to be able to do that. You know what I mean? Like, the thing that I've never liked about stock cars and why I was always a bagger in them is because you don't have control in those situations. If 2 guys say, you know what, you're not winning tonight, guess what? Unless they just eat your door bars for 20 minutes, you're probably not going to win that night.
Right.
But with harder cars, you get the weapon, you get the ability to actually fight back. You know what I mean? And then when you're in a bar fight situation and it's you against 8 guys, it's like, all right, let's see what we got here. This is fun now. Yeah. But I don't know. That's kind of why I've always never really liked stock cars. But it's one of those things, though. If you put me in a stock car, we're gonna derby a stock car. You know.
Right. Ability, yeah, to change that style and do what you got to do. First 15 minutes, survive the red wave or the hellraisers and the reapers. They're going to throw all they got, and so once you get past that wave, then you got the guys that you can throw them off their game by hitting them, because then they just come back and hit you as hard as they can and just as many times as they can, and then you pass that wave, and then here comes the finish. Now we're down to the last 5 cars.
The chess masters.
Now we know. Now here, I know you. You know me. Let's see who's zooming who. So.
Oh, I love it.
There's some good stories here, guys.
Yeah, Scotty, you're number 283. Tell me about 283. Where does it? I don't know that.
So that was my dad's number. I think the reason. Well, no, they. So I basically copied my dad, took his number, and then it was cool because like Dad had all these roof signs made up. You know, freebies. So like I had like a plethora of roof signs, which 283 he got from the engine, the Chevy engine, because that was his engine for years, which was actually my first engine when I started running full-size cars, was his same old motor.
Gotcha. All right, freebie. Now I've heard the story. I've heard you tell me, where's freebie come from?
So Freebie was my dad. It's my dad's nickname or whatever.
Yeah.
And so there was a local guy named Vance. Now him and my dad were close, you know, back in the day building stock cars. And Dad, when he started out, he didn't have anything. So, but Vance was derbying for a while at the point. So he'd go over there and like there was some show, I think it was called like Monster Garage or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And in the show they'd say freebie. So the old Dad, he just repeated the show, and then the next thing you know, he has a nickname, you know.
Yeah. There you go. That's phenomenal. Well, I think we've had a great conversation.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? Having good times, sharing some stories.
Yeah.
You know, I asked you guys earlier, I said, you know, does Derby attract great people or does Derby make great people? And you answered it nicely, eloquently. But I think what this show does is both successfully. And I think hearing these stories of what you guys are saying, it helps inspire other folks to get involved in this Derby. And it also helps those folks that are looking for that, you know, that outfit they need to be wearing to be that superhero. Like you say, when you put yourself in the car and you can make that switch, it gives them an outlet. And this is a good platform to hear these stories and to get these people fired up.
Steve, you hear a lot of people that everything, man, I can't pay the rent. The electric bill's too high. This grocery, God, diesel fuel's $5. It all goes away.
Mm-hmm.
The wife's been nagging me. The kids is a pain in my ass.
You don't remember the receipts.
It all goes away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is it 15 minutes? Is it 30? Whatever. You sit down in that seat, and it's just you and man and machine. And, it is, and it's a lot of people's release, and so
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you guys are doing great things in it, especially you, Scotty. Man, I'm loving everything that I hear from you. You sound like a great role model out there, and the only thing that I could think of is keep doing what you're doing because you're on the right track. You know, you could probably sell ice to an Eskimo too with that sales job that you're looking into, but you got a lot of good times in this Derby coming up, I can tell, and it's just going to make you a richer person in life. Not maybe monetarily, but just, you know, having the good layers of life. And this is a great thing, and I'm loving it. I've really enjoyed it.
I'm so you know, I'm not his father, but I'm proud that, I mean,
you got a part in him.
I watched this evolve in front of my eyes. And
that's what it takes. It takes a bunch of men to help others become men, right?
You know, and just like I said, and I've never been easy on him. I didn't treat him better or worse. When it come down, when I'm in a Derby, Scotty and his dad, I got no friends. I got no enemies. You're going to do what the other ones do, whether you like it or not. And maybe because it's freebie and it's because, you know, again, I go back to I'll inspect the car. Not the, you know what, Freebie. I'm probably going to be a little harder on him, and all this malarkey about he's friends and he lets him get bull dung. I'm harder on him because I know the consequences and all the integrity that I've built. I'm going to make sure this cuckoo is as square as I can make him because I know he's going to be there at the end. I love him, but I'm not going to lose everything I've worked for the Demolition Derby. For my integrity to give him, so he don't need nothing extra. And the good ones won't. The good ones won't. And the ones that are your friends and that ask, they won't put you in that situation and make you make that decision. They'll beat them to the best of their abilities within that rule set that they've mastered. And I will call it they're the masters of that rule set.
Unless it comes down to a couple washers here and there.
Like I said, yeah. Been there, done that, you know. And one of the things I talk about they talk about the inspection line and the respect given and taken. As a driver turned inspector I'm not mad they push it, and I tell them I expect you doing your thing, but don't be mad when I push back. I'm okay, you know. I ain't got no again. My reaction is from your action. I didn't go there to be an asshole. I didn't go there to make you cut that shit. I didn't weld his washers in his hole. He did. Now my reaction, and it says you can't do that. He read that, but again, that's part of Demolition Derby. That's part of the game. You do what you got to do to win, and I got to do as a promoter and as to keep it as a level playing field. And I'm starting to use, to my demise, I will do this to keep a level playing field. Because I'll say it again. Everybody wants it fair until they're the ones that wants it fair. To my demise. Doing things right for some reason and making everybody and people, why don't you run my shows? Why don't you run hardcore? You inspect cars and it's hard to win. What did I do wrong? But then you got competitors like Scotty that'll come, and it's hats off to those guys.
Frankie, I want to touch on that real quick. Derbying is one of those things that there's people that think it's fair, and there's people that realize derbying's not fair.
Right.
Now, you can go to a show. It can be the most equal show out of all of them. You know, you can have the best tech, but then you got to deal with politics on the track, and you can't really solve that. Once you accept the fact that the game isn't fair, that's when you can actually play. Amen. That's when you're able to actually get to that so-called next level of derbying. Because I remember I went from the youth, you know, it was like pretty fair, I guess you could say. And then I'm running against adults like, hold on, this is a completely different world. You know what I mean? Yes. But you either get faced with the choice like I was, where you can either adapt to that, overcome that, and say, all right, if this is what it's going to take, this is what it's going to take. Or you could just say that complain about how it's not fair and lose.
Doers
and
complainers.
It's
plenty of those out there.
Yeah.
The thing that surprises me the most about the youth is, like, especially, I noticed this when I was at Youth Nationals. So Cam and them, obviously, they put a new horn on a car or whatever.
Yeah.
But everybody was furious about that.
Yeah.
But the thing that I didn't see that really kind of confused me was there was only like 3 generators running that whole night.
Right.
2 of them were Penwells, and there was one right across the street from them.
Right.
I forget. I think they were from the boys with Austin Johnson.
They were the boys from out west, from Illinois, with Austin.
There was only
those guys killed themselves. Those couple guys.
Only 3 generators didn't turn off.
Right.
So how is everybody going to sit there and say, and just, how is anybody going to be mad at anybody? That's what I never understood. If they're going to stay up all night, they're going to stay up all night. That's the simple fact of it.
Again, willing to pay the price, the ability to, the will and capability and ability. It's the old adage, don't do extra, because that don't make me look bad and have to do more. Just the way it is, part of the game, guys. What is it? Trent's saying on his car, Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Hate the game.
Exactly. If you want it, Frankie, you want it. If you don't
want
want it, you don't want it.
Right.
If you want to be able to be considered one of the greats, it's gonna take a lot. You're gonna have to put yourself in a lot of hard situations. For some reason, I think it'd be cool to be like considered one of the best derby drivers to ever live.
That's absolutely.
That's going to put me in a lot of crazy situations. That's going to make me go to Vegas. That's going to make me go to Salina into a bar fight intentionally and love every second of it.
Yep.
But
That's for sure.
it's stuff like that where you're not going to get better if you don't do the crazy thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you don't take that leap of faith to see how good are you actually, you're just going to have to wonder it.
Yep.
And where's the fun in that?
You wonder
you
if
know?
what could have been. Am I mediocre? I'm mediocre. Or, man, what if? To wonder in life, not just Demolition Derby, wonder if I'd have done this or if I'd have done that. You don't know if you'll wonder, but if you throw yourself in there, you go ahead, you get it. You don't have to wonder no more. Well, there's our sign, Scotty. The lights is out, and it's we have ready to pull the curtain. I can't tell you. This all came together pretty quick on a phone call, with Scotty, and I was looking for my next guest, and man, we kind of just did what we did that day, huh? We just were on the phone.
Pretty much.
And I'll use a Mark Elliott said, just fire up the podcast. When we're talking and we hit on something good, fire. Tape it. Somebody tape it. We're in our element. And I think we were. And I thank you, man, for not only being a good friend, but watching you do things. And I appreciate you being on. It means a lot to me, Scotty. And I'm hoping to watch you for many, many more years and continue to watch you grow and to the top of your game. And I thank you for that.
Thank you there, Frankie Guy. We're going to try to make you proud.
Yes, sir. You always do, buddy.
I think he's already doing it.
People,
sounds like it.
Well, I think people, they didn't take him for real. And I think a lot more people do now. Freebie's the real deal. The Iceman's the real deal.
Iceman.
Yeah.
Guys, we're having fun here sharing these memories, and that's what it's all about.
Yep.
Hey, Scotty, get to church, buddy. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being part of this evening with us. Lot of great stuff.
Yep. Thank you guys for having me.
All right. Pray for me tonight, buddy.
Will do there, Frankie Guy. We got
God bless you, my friend.
Yep. We'll see you, brother. Have a great rest of your evening, you guys.
All right. You too, my man.
Yep.